Welcome to Warn Radio. With your hosts, the Watchman Dana Smith and Tower. Thanks for listening.
Greetings in the name of the Lord and welcome to Warn Radio. This is Tower. I'm here with the Watchman and we are glad you joined us. Please send all your prayer requests and correspondence to us through our contact page at warn-usa.com. You can listen to our Warn Radio episodes on danaglennsmith.com and warn-usa.com. Warn Radio is on the following platforms: Amazon Prime Music and Podcast, Spreaker, Blueberry, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play Music, Blog Talk Radio, Podcast Addict, Castbox, Google Podcast, Deezer, Spotify, Anchor, and Pocket Cast. And do not miss the featured posts this week of our in-depth biblical articles and radio shows featured on both warn-usa.com and danaglennsmith.com. Thy many gods, who shall save you? And the Land of Shadows, featured on danaglennsmith.com. Perilous Living, Best and Worst of Times. Faultless to Stand Before the Lamb. Steal the Darkness, Christian Fiction Release. America, If Thy Foundations Be Destroyed. Featured on warn-usa.com. No Other Gospel. The Rise of Islam and the Fall of the West. Faith, Persecuted, Love of God. Faith Life Journey. Christian Faith Persecution, Classic Warn Radio. Nations Drunk on Wine of the Harlot. And don't miss these WIBR Warn Radio weekly shows on Wednesdays: Advocacy from April 3rd, Agape, Benevolent Love, Times of Trouble, Rebuilding Lives, Gospel is Real, Advocacy. Thursdays, Battle Lines from April 4th. Days of Old, Isaiah's Prophetic Book, Part 212. Fridays, Sound the Shofar from April 5th. The Word of the Lord, Nations, Promises, Phrases, and Perpetuity, Part 12. Be sure to get your copy of The Rising. It's a Christian fiction thriller by the Watchman Dana G. Smith, a story of personal survival, the struggle of a nation, and the love of two people set amidst the prophetic landscape of perilous times. Hidden within the storyline of The Rising is the truth of what's happening in America now. Check out The Rising. When he who opposes rises, believers overcome by faith. And you can get your copy on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Ingram, Walmart, Angus and Robertson. The Rising ebook can be found on Google Play. You can also get your copy of The Rising by going to danaglennsmith.com. Visit our Christian books and resource shop where we feature The Rising and other Christian books, as well as resources from our Vision Media. And now I welcome in the Watchman.
You're listening to Warn Radio on the WIBR Warn Radio Network. Don't forget to visit our websites at warn-usa.com and danaglennsmith.com. And also follow us on Twitter, find us on Instagram, and join us on LinkedIn.
Greetings. Welcome. Have you checked the calendar? How about the time? Do you know the day of the week? Well, you know, this is spring over here, and the signs are everywhere, and we like it. But the signs of a lawless generation, I should say plural, generations, is also taking its toll. Many people call Joe Biden one of the worst presidents on the face of this earth. Now, I've said this before. I knew what Biden was doing. I knew that Biden was going to be elected. I knew it way ahead of time. I knew why. I knew what he was bringing in and going to do. And so I made up my mind, as I've said before, that pretty much anything he does, I'm not going to like. Well, that's stayed true to form. And while he may be the worst president on the face of this earth, he's managed to do what most of the Democrats wanted to do all along. And Joe Biden is considered, someone that is not fit for office, but yet he got the job done. And he did a good job at being bad. And so now we have multiple millions of illegals in here, millions more that want to come in. We have cities that are overrun, and their mayors now want to get rid of them. The Democrats should have thought of this before they decided to flood America and ruin everything. In addition, we also found out that the Democrats were getting rid of the electoral system, which was set in place a long time ago. And the reason they're doing that is because they can't win the electoral system, the electoral college. Not the way they are now. And so they're hoping with numbers they can take the presidency, and they plan on using a bunch of the illegals. However, in some of these towns, the illegals are such a burden, they don't know what to do. So they don't want to get rid of them because they want them to vote for an agenda that the Democrats want to bring in. But if they let them go, their cities are falling apart. And of course, and with that, money goes out. With that, good companies leave. And I'm trying to think of the restaurant chain I just seen yesterday. And it's a little unusual chain, but it's been around for a long time. They are closing down. They had at one time 1,000 stores, and so they must be heavily populated in California. And I just seen it yesterday. So there goes another one in California, and it's beyond me how these Democrats keep the same guys in and continue to destroy everything. Just like when you look at what happened with Venezuela, nobody could get rid of the people, and the presidents that were doing this finished the job, destroyed the country and the cities. I mean, go figure. Makes you wonder, just how stupid people are. And like in America, why would you ruin a country? And matter of fact, speaking of ruin, long time ago, Barack Obama was one of them. I think Clinton was the other one, I'm not sure. And in the Mall of America, it was filled with Somalis. I don't know what they were doing in there, but the security guards were running around trying to stop something. And these Somalis, I mean, it looked like a frickin' riot. And there were hundreds of them. They were everywhere. And they were young Somalis, male, female. So what were they doing? I don't know. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, no, that was Minnesota, Michigan, the Muslims were getting together and chanting "Death to America" there. By the way, Ilhan Omar, I think it is a Somali. And she got elected to Congress. Actually, when she first came in, she admitted to giving people money to vote for her. Where'd she get the money? Probably Soros. And of course, Ilhan Omar trained with terrorists in Somalia. These are the people that the Democrats want to let in. And they did. Here, America is being destroyed. It's being overrun. And it's being carried away. You're losing your America, and in another 5 years, it won't even be here. Unless someone changes it. So that's why people want Trump in. Because he did a good job the last time. But you see, the Democrats are plotting to stop him by using these corrupt judges and the legal system in New York City. When you get into Washington, D.C., for instance, and you go to trial there, you're going to be found guilty, more than likely. Especially if you're somebody political and they want to get rid of. If you are in New York, the same thing applies. Georgia has tried that, and they're having a little more difficulty. But the people of Georgia aren't like that. Matter of fact, when you look at some of the Trump rallies, he's got everybody on his side. Inner city blacks, inner city gangs, the black gangs. I mean, a lot of them. They want Trump. Because they, and when Trump was in there before, he actually worked to help the blacks in the inner city. Now, see, today's blacks, which have more money than the inner city blacks, they're doing a little bit better. They've been to college. And of course, black colleges were free, while the Caucasians had to pay for theirs. This country has done more to establish blacks and Mexicans, Hispanics, and everybody else in this country, while at the same time dissing the Caucasians and everybody else. Well, I'll tell you, there are a lot of Caucasians in the world, and the blacks seem to think that the world would be better off without whites. The big issue we have here is that the sin is not in the skin. The sin is that which is within. And what this represents is a society that is lawless, cold, jealous, hateful. Many are murderers. Many